Good Shabbos, everyone. What a tight-knit group we have this evening. Welcome to our Shabbat services. May I ask for a volunteer to light the candles? Would anyone like to do that? Elisa, would you like to?
I just would love to.
Okay. It is an honor, you know.
Look at that pretty.
Oh, it's
reflection.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Okay.
Okay, wait. Oh, do you need the book or you're okay? I'm sure you're okay.
I got it.
You got it. Thank you.
Okay. Take in the light. Let go of the week. We can say a blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yishanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu v'hadid shel Shabbat. Amen.
Amen.
On page 3. O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Turning to page 6. Let us all read together the top paragraph. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sadness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its thresholds. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. On page 10. Let us read the bottom paragraph together. The sun on the treetops is no longer seen. Come, gather to welcome the Sabbath, our Queen. Behold her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her the angels of peace and of rest. Draw near, and here abide. Draw near, O Sabbath bride. Peace also to you, you angels of peace. Turning to page 13, for the Shiru. Would you start us on that, please?
Oh, sure. You okay? If you need me to help read it, we can. So how about we go through go through it 2 times from Psalm 96 on page 13. Shiru Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Basaru Miyom Liyom Yeshu Ato, Shiru Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Basaru Miyom Liyom Yeshu Ato.
Turning to page 20, the Chavodi.
Okay. How about we do, I always do the first, and I always do the last, and for the sake of time, how about we do the fifth? So we'll do 1, 5, and 9.
And all remember to rise and face the entrance for number 9.
Thank you. Okay. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, yishmi'anu el hamayuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shem u'letiferet v'lithilah, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Hitorari, kiva ore kumi ori, uri, shir daberi, kivod Adonai alayich nigla, lecha doti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela, lecha doti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Bo'hi b'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'tzahara, toch emunei am segula. Bo'hi kala, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela.
You may be seated. On page 24. Let us just read together the English tonight. Peace be to you, O ministering angels, messengers of the Most High, Majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing. Enter in peace O messengers of peace, angels of the Most High, majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing. Bless me with peace, O messengers of peace, angels of the Most High, majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing. Depart in peace, O messengers of peace, angels of the Most High, majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing. We don't have a minion, we have some jumping to do. To page 31. Do I have a volunteer to read either of those two paragraphs?
Say it again.
Page 31.
Yeah.
Do I have a volunteer to read either of those, top or bottom?
Sure.
Thank you.
This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother and sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'arim Arim.
Turning to page 33. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things the Torah gives to us, and the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Elohim Amo Yisrael. Page 34, the Shema rises as if it is your custom. Singing?
Sure.
Let's all sing together.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Malchuto Le'olam Vahed. Please turn to page 36 for that first paragraph, which I will sing for everybody.
Feel free to join in.
Yes, this is the tune my dad taught me. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinanta levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha uvlechtecha b'derech uvshachbecha uvkumecha ukshartam le'or al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchetavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvi she'arecha.
page 37. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, and with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are all reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. Turning to page 39. Let us all read together the top paragraph. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands, marching together. Turning to page 40. Jessica, would you start us off on this?
Mi hamocha, Elohim Adonai, mi hamocha, nedar v'kodesh, no ratehilo, osef eleh.
Thank you. Turning to page 42. The Hashkivenu.
What we've learned to do with this song is we do the first 3 lines, I believe. Let me just see. And then, please correct me if I'm wrong, we skip to the indented 3 lines that begin Ushmor Tseitenu. So let me just check that. Hold on. No, okay, the first 2 lines, and then we skip and we do these 3. That's how we've learned to sing the Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu L'Shalom, V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Again, Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu L'Shalom, V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Ushmor Tseitenu, Uvoenu, L'chaim Shalom, Me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu L'Shalom, V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. I can song. Okay. And then, and now on page 44 for the Vishamru. Do you want to read it in English first and then sing it?
Let's just sing it.
Okay.
We all know
Okay. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat lasot et לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריד עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריד עולם.
And here we begin the silent Amidah. You may all read silently from pages 47 to 64. Done standing. When you are through reading, you may sit down. Besides what's in the book, I'm sure you all know prayers and passages from memory. You may add those in as well.
Where does it end again?
It ends on page 64, begins on 47.
Oh.
a lot of options in this section, what we can do, what we wish to do. Are there any parts in those, any prayers in there that speak to any of you that we'd like to have read aloud?
Yes, there is. I just can't make it
I have one I can read.
All right, you can read that while Michael's finding his.
Is that okay? Michael's, you're looking for one? I could read. Where you're,
Yes.
where you're looking. There's so many beautiful prayers here. It's hard to know which one to pick. On page 51, we pray that we might know before whom we stand, the power whose gift is life, who quickens those who have forgotten how to live. We pray for the winds to disperse the choking air of sadness, for cleansing rains to make parched hopes flower, and to give all of us the strength to rise up toward the sun. We pray for love to encompass us for no other reason save that we are human. For love through which we may all blossom into persons who have gained power over our own lives. We pray to stand upright, we fallen, to be healed, we sufferers. We pray to break the bonds that keep us from the world of beauty. We pray for opened eyes, we who are blind to our own authentic selves. We pray that we may walk in the garden of a purposeful life, our own powers in touch with the power of the world. Praised be the God whose gift is life, whose cleansing reigns. Let parched men and women flower toward the sun. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh Hakol Hamitim.
You found yours, Michael?
Yes. Although I think I read this 2 weeks ago, so.
You must like it.
This is where the spirits took my eyes to go, so.
And what page is that on?
This is on page 55, in the middle in English. So disturb us, Adonai, ruffle us from our complacency, make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude which arises from shunning the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans. Shock us, Adonai, deny to us the false Shabbat, which gives us the delusions of satisfaction amid a world of war and hatred. Wake us, O God, and shake us in the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears. Make us know the border of the sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters from the winds of truth, justice, and reality. Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Anyone else have anything they'd like to offer? No?
Page 63. We reach for you, our God, from our quiet places. May we stand still for a brief moment and listen to the rain. stand still for a brief moment and watch the play of sunlight and shadow on the leaves. For a brief moment, listen to the world. Let us stop the wheels of every day to be aware of Shabbat. Find the stillness of the sanctuary which the soul cherished. Renew the covenant of an ancient people. We need a quiet space to rest the balance of our days, the weight of our own deeds against the heaviness of the world's demands. The balance is precarious. Steady us with faith. Quiet places and stillness where we will hear our own best impulses speak. Quiet places and stillness from which we will reach out to each other. We will find strength in silence, and with this strength, we will turn again to your service.
Anyone else? On page 61. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, avarech et amo Yisrael b'hashalom. Don't stop beating the swords into plowshares. Don't stop. Go on beating and making musical instruments out of them. Whoever wants to make war again will have to turn them into plowshares first. Would you like to do 64? Just the top, that or English, it's up to you.
Okay, I'll try the top part. I'm always shy about this one. I don't know it as well, but I'll try. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu. Michael, you have to help me with the tune. I'm sorry. Can you help? Can we do it together?
What page?
It's page 64.
Sorry.
Baruch atah Adonai.
This one's slightly different.
What'd you say?
And I'm not sure, are we about to do this without a minion?
Oh,
Yeah,
That's the conclusion.
you know, people do this at home.
That's really the answer I'm looking for. Baruch atah Adonai, Bloomsburg. Ve'ovateinu b'imotenu.
Tenu. Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El Agadol Badibor B'Manorah, El Elyon,
Kolei shamayim v'ha'aretz. This is different. Begin avot v'ima'ot b'varo, v'chayei ha'kol v'ma'aro. Hakadosh she'ein kamahu hameina lamo yom Shabbat kadsho. Ki lama tzah l'chayach lachem l'fanav ha'avot v'yired b'chava v'mafachat. ונודה לשמו בכל יום תמיד, מעון הברכות, אל החועדות, אדון השלום, מקדש השבת, ומברך שביעי, ומניח בקדישה על משני עוני, זכר למעשה בראש.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. On page 253, Yeshivarach, or the paper I gave you.
At this time, we would like to keep in our hearts, and also you're welcome to say the names of those among us who are ill and are in need of healing and positive energy. First, I'd like to send that out to Michael's wife, Margaret, who today just came out of the hospital. Am I correct? She's doing well, but I spoke with her today and I told her that I would say a blessing for her today. Also, Janice Broder, who's been struggling with health issues. Our friend Neil Young, who sadly had to put Cinderella to sleep this week. My favorite Jewish dog. So he's grieving that loss this week. My brother-in-law, who is recovering from major surgery for lung cancer, Robert Donahue. Anyone like to share any other names? All right, well, we'll keep the names of, Sandra Hare, the dear friend who was in a terrible car accident and is recovering from that several weeks ago. Lots going on in our community. We send blessings to everyone. Okay, so is this the same? Yes, all right, I'll use this one now. Mi sheberach avotenu, mikor habaracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu, mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
All right. I'll be brief. Now we have an item to discuss. You can see my eyes are not doing very well. So hopefully they'll figure out what's going on with this sooner rather than later. It's very difficult to see right now. And the parsha for today was Joshua, chapter 2. All 24 verses. And I'm sure most of you are probably a little familiar with the story. Joshua sends out 2 men to spy. and scouting out the land of Jericho, which they've been told will be theirs. But the king of Jericho sends out Rahab, considered to be a prostitute, to go find these two men and let me know where they are. So the spy goes to find the spies. Lots of dialogue, but she finds them and she tells them to come and hide. She gives them a place to hide from those searching for them. And she hides them up on a rooftop. And the men that were following kept going in a false direction, out of the way. She shuts the gate. She goes up to the rooftop and she says to the men, I know that the Lord has given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land have melted away because of you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to the two kings of the Ammonites that were on the other side of the Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom you completely destroyed. And as soon as we heard, our hearts melted, nor did there remain any more spirit in any man because of you. For the Lord your God, he is God in heaven above and on earth below. Anyway, she hides them. Things are good. She asks of them a favor. When you come here to claim all of this for your own, can you spare me and my family? To which the men agree. And the way they do it is by telling her to tie the scarlet ribbons, cloths, cords, the word's not quite clear, upon them and upon their house, and when they see it, they will pass by it, and harm shall not come to them. The two men returned, descended from the mountain, crossed over, and came to Joshua, son of Nun, and told him all that had happened to them. And they said to Joshua, for the Lord has delivered us into our hands all the land, and also the inhabitants of the country have melted away because of us. This story is about salvation for Rahab and her confession of faith. She knows who these men are. More importantly, she knows who their God is and accepts it and believes in him. This is one of the earliest stories of a conversion of faith, of someone who is an idolater from a different land, a different people, who hears of the deeds of the Lord, and just by hearing, believes. Helps Joshua's men stay hidden, helps them escape with all the information they need. to take over the land. I've always liked the story because of this person just simply believing by hearing the word spoken and the deeds they heard about. They didn't actually see them. They heard and they believed. And the one last little tidbit I'll leave you with is Rahab goes on to have a very important grandson. Does anybody know what his name is? David. So the story is important in the scheme of things. It's, as you know, our religion's all about lineage.
So that may be part of the same line that we read about on Shavuot?
Yes. It's this line that runs all the way through.
So this is Yishai's father?
Yes.
Okay, so, okay.
It
So he's-
runs, like I said, the family
So
lineage
he's
runs
also-
all the way through, and they keep, it's there. The reference to her comes later.
To Ruth.
The references to her come later. And it's just interesting how our religion goes, and then it does a little backup, and then it goes forward, and it does another little backup. So you understand where it all comes from. It's wonderful work. And the other thing we were going to discuss is we had talked about, Michael brought it up, of possibly moving our start time in summer to a later hour. Since we're really drifting right now, we're so far away from sunset that, especially this week, which had the longest day of the year in it, sunset was 8:40. So theoretically, we're not doing this correctly. But we're going to check on what are the thoughts of the people who attend on moving to 7:30 until we get to September. And the holidays begin. Your thoughts?
Well, a half an hour difference doesn't seem extreme. For those people who might be coming from out of town, that might make a difference. For me, with my work, when I'm working, it puts just a little bit more of a time restriction since we're starting later and I have to be at work at 10 o'clock. But it really, a half hour here or there, to me, doesn't matter too much.
Santa?
I think it's a fine idea. I can sort of see, the case against it might, fall on the grounds that even at 7:30, it's still well before when the sun goes down.
Yes.
So what difference does it
Right.
make?
It's only a half hour.
But having said that, then the other side is it does get it a bit closer, such that at least by the time we leave, we might be close to sundown. So
It's always dark when we leave.
Yeah.
yes, so
It's
yeah,
8:40 p.m. right now is sunset. So.
yeah. So yeah, I guess my point of view is I'm fine either way, but I do, if other people are amenable, I think it's worthwhile.
Okay. Our couple who drives further than most everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're coming from Danville, so does the hour mean
They're on
anything?
the other side of
Yeah.
Danville.
Does the hour mean anything? The half hour mean anything to you? 7:30 as a start time.
Probably 7:30 wouldn't, but much later, no.
It's only for,
It'll interfere with my bedtime.
I understand. It's only for
It's only for a couple.
2 more months. And then it's something we would probably start every year with June, July, August.
In between Shavuot and Rosh Hashanah, if you want to think of it in terms of
Yeah,
Jewish.
well,
Jewish-
they can vary by a month, so we gotta be careful there.
Well, that's true.
Two of the objections I've heard to pushing it later revolve around finishing later, or finishing way too late. Perhaps we can mitigate some of that by saying that maybe during the summer, we don't do a full meal after dinner. Maybe we just have a no egg and dessert, so we can go home, clean up and go home earlier, you know, to make up for the fact we're starting much later.
Yeah, that was gonna be the other part. That's,
Yeah.
but thank you.
The other thing is we could start on time.
That's
Well,
a novel
I
concept.
plead guilty.
Huh.
I plead guilty.
It's a novel concept. It's something I'd like to see, but it is what it is.
I mean, we could just do that, start at the time we say, and if you're here, great, if you come later.
Okay, well, anyway, right now it's 7:30. Does that mean anything to you?
No.
Mel,
No,
you think it'll matter to Shay?
I'm sure she would run any later, and the idea of not having a full meal afterward probably makes sense.
Okay. Sounds like it's not going to break the congregation in two if we do it.
So we would do 7:30 and just dessert, like
7:30
maybe fruit and dessert.
And keep it to quick cleanup items.
Mhm.
A dessert, I don't know, you think a salad's doable?
No.
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 No, once you get into salads,
It's
too
too
late
late
to eat too heavy before you go to bed.
Straight desserts and beverages and challah.
well, people can choose what they eat. If there's different foods available, people can
Well,
choose
we're
what they
talking
eat.
Right,
Just because there's
but-
salad doesn't mean you have to eat it.
It's only gonna be desserts.
We're trying to stop two things. One is scope creep, and the other is more detailed cleanup. So the simpler we make cleanup, the faster
Right.
we get out of here, then.
Yeah, the more plates and utensils and things we use, the longer it takes. And certain foods just take longer to eat. And people want to have their salad first, then they want to have the other stuff, then they may want to go get some soup. Susan and I are usually here till 10:20, 10:30.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's a long day, especially when mine started about 5:30 in the morning. So
We could just have challah and not bring anything.
we could just do that.
Yeah, but that's
All right, it's simple
not a good
desserts.
idea.
Why?
It's too simple.
Well, you know what,
You're
it's,
spoiled.
What?
Shabbos, I should be,
You're
it's
spoiled.
Shabbos, I should be spoiled.
well,
Fine, eat before you come.
oh, well, just to say that it is Shabbos, and it's always nice after we sit through a time to have a little time together to sit and chat, which I think we've all enjoyed. So if we just have challah, it's just like a little nibble. If we have dessert, it's a nice compromise between the tiny, tiny nibble and then the, gosh, we gotta stay here till 10:30 to clean up. So at least we could all have maybe a half hour together, just to catch up and have a little
Yeah, that's,
time.
the goal is to try to have people be able to get on their way shortly after 9 o'clock,
Yeah,
which
that's-
right now is still barely dark.
Yeah, but we come here to the synagogue not only to pray, but to have some together time, right? Where we can kind of touch base with each other, which is so gratifying. So I love the dessert idea. And we could even use paper plates. Some people in the world do that. I know it's wasteful, but we're not using that many plates.
Because there's
Not that many of us.
Okay.
We can use our fingers too. I'll bring soap.
All right, everybody, look, I have 1, 2 people I want to check with. I don't think it's going to matter that way either. And I know one person is going to be thrilled because They want later. So we'll see what happens. Michael, once the decision's made, we'll send out an announcement, and we'll go from there.
I thought the decision is made.
By this, I just want to check with one or two more people who aren't present tonight. I don't think it's going to be a bit of difference, but
So we're looking at 7:30
7:30.
and dessert
Right, and we really need to start on time.
and be on time.
7:30 doesn't mean everyone shows up at 7:45.
Right.
Because now we say 7 and we never get started till 7:15 or after.
Right.
And if we say 7:30, we need to try to do 7:30. It's not fair to the people who get here on time.
Good.
So we're just going to start and go from there.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay? Certainly does. All right,
Down alone.
page 282. The Orlando. And we always do the lower one on the page.
And then, as it says on the bottom, for those who choose, at the word Purim, one bends at the knees at Umishtachavim, one bows at the waist, and at Lifnei Melech, one stands straight. I'm always slightly off when I do that, but that's okay. And do we face the back? Or we face?
Some people have the custom of facing the ark.
Oh, the ark. Okay. Aleinu l'shabbat ha'adon ha'kol, la'aseh gedula liyotzeh b'reshit, shelo asanu kigoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adamah, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'dor aleinu k'kol ha'onam.
All right, page 295.
I hear a little singing in the back. Would you like to, I do know the tune for that. Would you like to do the rest of it? That's on page 284, the part that goes, She'uno teshamayim v'yoser haaretz, u'moshe v'yakara b'shamayim b'ma'al, u'shchina ruzo, v'gav hei meromim, u'Eloheinu einod, emet malkeinu efet sulato, kakatu b'torato, yadata hayom v'hashevota elevavecha, ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim b'shamayim imao, v'ya'aretz mitachat einod.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Remember to do that.
Yeah.
Now on page 295. We didn't have a minion.
We can sit.
Is anyone celebrating a yard site? Yeah, you may be seated. No?
Jim? June.
Yeah, I'm celebrating your outside.
Celebrating.
Not celebrating, but commemorating.
Marking.
Commemorating.
Commemorating.
Well, it depends on who it was.
Who would that be?
This would be my maternal grandfather, Max Orland. He was the Orthodox person in our family. He was the guiding light
Aw.
for everyone's religious observance.
Oh.
And he lived in the sheep's head thing.
He did.
What was his name?
He's a-
As they
Max
say,
Orland.
you can't beat
Max?
the bay.
Orland, Gorland.
What? Safari?
No,
No.
Ashkenaz.
I never heard of
A blessed memory.
Yes. We're gonna do, oh, we can do this.
No, not a minion.
Okay. And
That's why this
343?
is the end of it. Hang on. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. Zikronam livracha. All right, now.
And we'll close with Oseh Shalom, on page 343. May the one who causes peace to reign in the high heavens, let peace descend on us and on all Israel, and let us say, Amen. Oseh Shalom bimromah, Uyaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, limru amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen. Thank you all for coming. And we do have some food downstairs. Our last meal together until dessert becomes a regular thing.